Hello. My name's John Vella. I am a composer. I'm a record producer. I do lots of things music, and I thought I'd start a YouTube channel. So this is my first sort of talking to the camera video. Maybe it's just giving myself permission to do this thing because it's something I've wanted to do for quite a while. So firstly, thank you for being here. And if you like any of the things I do, I'd love it if you'd stick around. What have I done? So the reason I think I should do this is really that I'm probably qualified, which is a tough one to gauge because it's always easy to think you're not. And when I look back at my career, which is 22 years now, I've ticked a few boxes, and I'm still making music. I'm not really famous at all. I don't think anybody really knows who I am. But then, some people do, and I'm very fortunate. I get to make a living making music, helping other people make music. I do sound mixing as well. So, if there's a hat to wear, I've probably worn it. I'm a little more selective these days, and to get into that, production music has definitely been the thing that has been the greatest investment I've made. I wrote a lot of music, in particular for a company called Audio Network, and been very fortunate to work with them since about 2013 when a friend of mine at the Sydney office put me forward. And yeah, the tracks have gone on to do well, and they supported my band Tenderfoot as well. We made a couple of records. They signed Tenderfoot's first EP, and then they offered to fly us to England to record a record and orchestrate that one at Abbey Road. So we did a bunch of it here in Sydney, Australia, and then we all flew over there, of course, to listen to the English Session Orchestra play on our tracks in Studio 3 of Abbey Road. That was definitely a highlight of my life. And I got to play a little live acoustic version there too, and that's our most streamed song. My most streamed song, a bit over 1 million streams there. So as an artist, I think that I've made some stuff. Still a way to go, obviously, but also very, very happy to have made music that I'm really proud of and have not compromised in that on that road. I do bespoke advertising compositions. I've written for a number of companies. I did a year in New York as a freelance composer. I wrote a lot for a company called Duotone. They were really good to me. Sorry, it's just my Casio. No big deal. And yeah, so over there I got to pitch on Apple and Samsung, and my favorite was Fisher-Price. John Goodman was in the picture, and I was really happy with the piece of music I wrote for that. Those ones didn't get up, of course, but I have done pieces of music that were successful and used for Qantas, Amex, Telstra, Australian's big phone company, HelloFresh, Harley Davidson, what else? So many. Super Cheap Auto, that was a very big campaign over here. Quite a few, and a lot of them were direct through friends who are producers and directors, and then some of them are for sound houses. And I have my own little sound house these days, which is called Super Friends. Don't really push it much, but it's there, and I do the score bespoke stuff through that. Also do sound mixing through that for commercials to TV specs, all those sort of things. I've produced records. The most notable, or the one I put the most into, would be Andy Gollich's record. Friend of mine in Sydney and in the inner west of Sydney, we worked really hard on his songs for a few years there, and he got a deal with IOU Records, and that record went on to... Well, there was two. There was an EP called Run to the River, and then there was a full-length album called Strength of a Queen, and they both did well, and the album got nominated for an ARIA for Best Country Album, and that's like the Australian Grammys, and then Country Music Awards, it got nominated as well. And yeah, really proud of that work as well. And then there are a bunch of other great independent artists I've worked with, and I've worked with some really great session musicians over the years. I won't name them now, but it's been a real treat to get to work with people that I consider to be sort of best in class, and I feel very, very fortunate. And I guess the thing is, maybe I have something to offer here. Like, I love to bring people into my world to get to see what I do. I write some compositions, be it do some performances, talk to some of my friends in the industry. I'm not really sure yet, but I think that it'd be good for me to have a voice, and maybe I can help some people, and maybe this whole process will help me too. I've definitely shied away from being in front of a camera or public facing for a few years. I used to be much better at that. I definitely needed a little break there. I went pretty hard when I was younger, and music industry it's not a friendly place, and there's a lot of rejection, and if you're out there going through it, I know how you feel. Like, it's pretty full on. I had a line about it. It was like, you're in the gutter one day, the pedestal in the next, and that's kind of how I see it. It's a brutal industry. It's definitely evolved, and there are different ways to do things these days. Some of them better, some of them worse, but I would say that these days you can put your music up. It's you can really get your stuff out there, and you've got to be good. And maybe I'm not even that good, I don't know, but I can probably give some people some tips or something. So we'll see how we go. I would like to thank Woodstock Bourbon and Cola for sponsoring this first video. Not really, I paid for these, but here's hoping. But I may not have got up the confidence for a first video where I just spoke and did no music without the old Woody. So thank you. I'm not an alco either, I promise. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, and if you'd like to hear more, you could like it, or you could subscribe, or whatever, but everything helps, and we'll see how we go. Cheers.